mentioned to Caroline tonight before we left that I wasn't too sure why I had this prompting to do this tonight. I think now I know.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
It's called the mystery of the church. Do you know that the church is a mystery?
Yes.
Up until the time of Christ, the Jews had their temple in Jerusalem, and people had to go there to really worship. Gentiles had their temples. Some of them were magnificent, architectural masterpieces. But the Jews and Gentiles never worshiped together. And not only that, they actually hated each other. The Jews called the Gentiles dogs, the uncircumcised, in a derogatory sense. A Jewish woman would not help a Gentile woman have a baby, be midwife to her, because she thought she was bringing someone evil into the world. Jews would walk 100 miles to avoid going through Samaria, because it was Gentile territory. It was not until Christ and then Paul, or Saul, came along that the church was actually born. And the first mention of the church is in Acts. And initially it was for the Jews. It says there were dwelling in Jerusalem devout Jews from every nation, who then were touched by what the apostles said. And they continued daily with one accord in the temple. The Lord added 3,000 to the church that particular day. So, that Saul really was the beginning on earth of the church. He started it. He formed the reunion between the Gentiles and the Jews under God's direction. It was said that when Saul was hit on the road to Damascus by Jesus' presence, that Ananias, who was there called by God to minister to Saul, Ananias was told by God, Jesus, that Saul was the anointed one to bring the gospel to the Gentiles. This had been mentioned many times before in the Old Testament, that there would be a light brought to the Gentiles, but nothing definite was ever done until the time of Saul and Paul. But what really is the church? Many people feel that the church is the building that we come to. People say, "Welcome to church." And that's not really true, because we are the church.
Yes.
We aren't in the church. The church is in the building. There's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you go to 2 Peter, or 1 Peter chapter 2, it talks a little bit about this. Because it does say earlier in 1 Corinthians that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit, if you are a follower and believer in Christ, the Holy Spirit is within you. You are a temple to the Holy Spirit. And it says in 1 Peter chapter 2 that Christ is the cornerstone of the new temple. And the cornerstone in the days this was written was a stone that was important because it was a foundation stone. It was a stone upon which the rest of the building depended. And if there was no good cornerstone, then the rest of the building wasn't built properly. Christ was the cornerstone. And it says he was a cornerstone that the builders rejected, because the Jewish people did reject him. And that those people who follow Christ will be blessed, and those that don't follow Christ will be disabled or disappointed. But it also says, too, that each of us are living stones in the temple. So if you can get this picture, that we are the temple of God. We have the Holy Spirit dwells within us. We are His temple. But collectively, we are the temple that God will dwell in. So the church is made up of everyone who's a follower of Christ. And we are all stones in the temple God is building. When you're not here, some of the stones in the temple are missing.
Yes.
If the foundation isn't built properly, then the building isn't secure. So we are the foundation, and we are the stones, the walls of the temple in which God will eventually dwell. So the mystery of the church is not these great big edifices that we build, but the people in those buildings.
Yes.
But the real problem, the real mystery, is the purpose of the church. And the purpose of the church may be a little different than what we're used to. It's not to entertain. It's not to please the people who come. It's not to have bake sales and bazaars. It's not even to have children's church. It's not to do those things. But the purpose of the church is reflected in Ephesians chapter 3. You see, it says there by Paul, who was the one who God chose to take the gospel to the Gentiles. When he was writing about the book about the church in Ephesus, because of all the problems that the Jews and Gentiles were having together, he mentioned the purpose of the church. The church was a mystery, but the main purpose of the church was to be an illustration to the world. It is to be a symbol to the world of the fellowship of God. We have really blown it. We have really blown it because instead of looking as one fellowship, there are now over 33,000 different denominations in Christianity.
Wow.
And it's estimated that if the world tarries until about 2020, that there'll be probably 50,000 different denominations. But yet it says in the Bible that Jesus said this, when I am no longer in the world, but there are in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you, my Holy Father, keep through your name, that when you have given me, that they may be one, as we are one. It also says in John 17:22, again he repeats, and the glory which you gave me, I have given them, that they may be one, just as we are one. But yet we don't. We are 33,000 different. So we are supposed to be an illustration to the world of the fellowship of Christianity. Not only that, if you look further along, it says that we are to be an example to the heavenlies so that they can see the wisdom of God. We are also supposed to be an illustration to the heavenlies, to the angels. They are apparently watching us when we're in church.
Yes.
This is supposed to be the ultimate illustration of God's love is the church. And it says in Peter, 1 Peter chapter 1, that the angels desired. They look to see what they cannot have because they cannot have the fellowship, the relationship, the salvation that we have. And they look down envious as to what we should be having. So the purpose of the church is to show the world what a true fellowship of Christian love should be. And also to show the angels the same. So what is the purpose of the ministry of the church? To do this? Jesus said it very simply. My house is to be a house of prayer. The main purpose of the church, the main ministry of the church, is collective prayer and praise. Nothing else. If we, of all the churches, prayed and praised the way we're supposed to, we would change the world.
Amen.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery which can be found out and can be done if we are willing to do it.
Yes.
Just something to think about.